السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Today we are going to start part 4 of our series. Men are human doings and not human beings. One thing I've noticed myself and many men to crave is power. We like to be powerful. We like to be in control. We like to take charge. This is a very natural masculine trait. It's a trait that should be celebrated. It's a trait that has gotten us very, very far into our civilization. We have been able to mold our environment. We have been able to build cities and towns. We have been able to build governments, establish law and order, and bring about a general state of safety and well-being in the world. For this, we must credit ourselves with having the courage to fight the good fights, to seize control, and to be powerful. And this is a very masculine thing. However, there is one part of the equation that we often ignore, and that is, as I believe Spider-Man was told in one of the Spider-Man episodes, with great power comes great responsibility. Sounds a bit corny, I know, but it is very, very true. You cannot want, or you can want, but you cannot have power responsibly if you are not willing to pay the price for that power. And the price for that power is the ability to be ethical, reasonable, and the ability to think beyond just yourself. And so, as men, we need to realize that the value in our lives has to do with our ambitions. And our ambitions are not by default bad because they involve things like power, control, the need to lead. These traits are not bad. And I want to say it again and again. These traits are not inherently bad. However, a real man, a real person in power, a real person in control, is one who starts with controlling himself, controlling his actions, and not going merely on instinct. That is where real power starts. In Arabic, we call this Jihadun Nafs, the battle of the self. And there is one story that I recall when the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, may God's peace and blessings be upon him and his, had just fought in a battle. And there was joy in having been victorious on that occasion. And of course, that joy is also coupled with sadness because battles are not pretty. And when people lamented over the victory and said, "What a great battle this was! What a great struggle! What a great jihad!" The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, "Now we return to the Greater Jihad, Jihadul Akbar." At this, the companions were surprised, and they said, "O Messenger of God, what is this Jihadul Akbar, the Greater Jihad?" And he said, "Verily it is Jihadun Nafs, the battle with the self." And so, gentlemen, young men, I advise you to practice this jihad. Before you go out to sit and make your mark on the world, start with the battle where you take control of yourself and your life. First, set your own home in order. First, set your own affairs in order before you march out into the world and try to set the affairs of the world in order. For if you do not do that, you might fail miserably, and that is the better scenario. In the case where you might succeed, seemingly, in setting the world in order, there's a possibility that you would in fact be setting the world in chaos, into disarray, and not into the order you might have initially perceived. Now, I have some advice for you, my fellow men, my young men, regarding setting your life in order. One of the things that is very important to take stock of, fundamentally, first and foremost in your life, is this amazing gift, this precious gem, this ni'mah from Allah called time. Time. Time is your life. Life is time. What you do with your time and what you do by way of habit defines who you are. And so to this extent, or in line with this vein, or this concept, this idea, I recall that the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam is reported to have said that the little bit you do regularly is better than doing a lot all at once. And my dear brothers, my young men, this is probably the most sound advice you would find regarding managing your time. Sometimes we rush into things we get excited. We, feel that surge within us to want to just rush out and launch into a task. And we do it haphazardly. And suddenly, after a few days, sometimes after a few short hours, we tire out, we lose that fuel, we lose our impetus to continue in that task. Now, my dear men, that type of behavior is best suited for children, but not you. Not you as an adult, as a man. Rather, when you feel this rush within you, the excitement, the urge to want to launch yourself into something, pause, stop, think, contemplate, and ask yourself a very important question, and that is, to what end? To what end will I embark on this plight? To what end will I launch myself into what might just be oblivion? You never know, and you never will know, but at least you took a moment to think about it first, to consult other people, to speak to people who have been there and done that, and ask them, excuse me, have you done such and such? Can you tell me what your experiences were when you embarked on such and such? Can you tell me what are some of the pitfalls you encountered? Can you point out what the best approach might be for me to take? And believe it or not, brothers, people are very willing to help young men, especially young aspiring men. And people are always helpful, or mostly helpful in this regard, because we do feel appreciated when someone says, you know what, I would like some of your expert advice. And you might feel all coy at that moment and be like, yeah, that's me, the expert. Okay, just maybe for a second, right? And even if you don't feel that way, you might have one or two things to share with somebody else, and it might just be coming from a really good place. And so, my fellow men, my young men, do recognize that this world is a very old place, that millions upon millions of people have gone through much of what you go through. They have experienced much of what you experience, and that you are fundamentally the same, like any other young man that has lived in this world for millennia. And if there is advice to be given, it was probably given. And if there is guidance you seek, it's probably available. And what you need to do is be humble enough to ask. Capiche? That's simple. And I know, and I feel it very often myself, that I don't want to always ask other people. I don't always want to see other people as knowing better than I know. I want to believe that I have this under control. You know, I am the shit. Yeah? But if you are someone who believes, for example, in the guidance of Allah in the Quran, or in the guidance of Allah through all the many prophets that have walked upon this earth with their blessed feet, and who spent their blessed lives preaching the truth, you will know that the greatest downfall was when Satan, Iblis, the devil, said, I am better than Adam. I am better than him. أنا خير منه. I was made of fire and he was made of clay. And this superiority complex is a thing of the devil. And so, my dear men, it is for the wise, not even the pious. I don't believe in piety, by the way. It is for the wise to remain humble. For one who knows his cup is empty is always ready to receive more. But one who is satiated, satisfied with his accomplishments, and contented with his knowledge, cannot learn beyond that point, cannot receive more wisdom than he might already have, and cannot benefit from the broad and beautiful, wide and expansive classroom of life. And so, my dear young men, I implore you to work hard, to achieve, to accomplish, to be ambitious, to strive, to fight the good fight, and over and above all these things, I ask you to always try to remember that nothing is truly accomplished except by the will of Allah. And so therefore we should give thanks and remain humble. Thank you.